welcome to Belgium and rounds 4, 5 and 6 of the 2026 GB3 Championship as we make our first trip across to continental Europe here at Spa-Francorchamps, a track that we know incredibly well in the GB3 Championship. The weather so far this week has been beautiful up until today when thunderstorms woke people up at around 4:30 this morning, and the weather has not subsided at all. I am Jon Jackson here. We've taken refuge in the Hill Speed garage, and as you can see behind me, the tyres are being prepared. These slick tyres, I don't feel are going to get much use in this race at least, because it is still raining fairly heavily. You can see right now everyone behind us just getting the wet weather tyres all prepared, brand new wet weather tyres on top there. They'll be putting those on their 3 cars. It's going to be a fascinating race, this one. We've had wet races before here at Spa-Francorchamps, and obviously these drivers would actually probably appreciate some wet racing practice. However, it's probably not ideal for Abby Pulling. She'll start on pole position, her first ever pole position in GB3. I feel like she maybe would have liked drier, warmer conditions, but there we go. We have to work with what we've got. So we're here at in Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps for the 4, 5 and 6 rounds of the GB3 Championship. But let's just remind ourselves before we hear from one of the drivers here at Hill Speed what happened in the first 3 rounds at Silverstone a few weeks ago.
Welcome to the home of British motor racing for the season opener of the 2026 GB3 Championship. And the season is go. It's Martin Molnar with a much better start from the front row. Bedrin firing his way back down the inside. Oh, they've touched. He had to work hard for it, but it's Nikita Bedrin taking the first victory here in 2026. Race 2 about ready to go. It's Nikita Bedrin on pole position again alongside Deegan Fairclough this time. Race 2 is go. Oh, side by side between the top 2. Great racing here into Stowe. Brilliant move. Oh, Taylor is off the road. Pulling the fence. Patricio Gonzalez up and onto the top. It's Nikita Bedrin again. Back-to-back victories for the BRD Racing driver. Final race of the weekend, that all-important reverse grid. It's Flynn Jackson, Rodrigo Gonzalez on the front row. And we go. Flynn Jackson leads from pole. Great start from Jin Nakamura. Lucas Flusha getting past Q-Ho Lee. Flynn Jack's trying to hang on, but he's got 3 wide down the inside. Q-Ho Lee's gone for it. Jin Nakamura to the outside. Nakamura going full send and stealing the victory away. It's heartache for Jax, but it's brilliance from Nakamura.
Well, that was last time out at Silverstone a few weekends ago. Completely different weather to what we've got here in Spa. The rain still hammering it down. We're still at Hill Speed, and I'm joined by Dante Vinci, who is preparing to go out ready in this weather. I mean, what do you think when you wake up and see this?
Well, I was expecting it. It was going to come at some point. Wasn't expecting it to be this heavy, but yeah, you know, I am looking forward to it. Hopefully, it is a little bit lighter when we race, so it's a tiny bit safer, but it should be very, very interesting because it'll be less DRS games and more who can get up to speed the quickest.
Yeah, who can get those tyres to work around this track. Now, you were very quick in testing. I think you topped at least one of the sessions. What do you need to get right around this track to put in a good lap at Spa?
Are you talking in the dry or in the...
Yeah, in the dry, not yet. Forget the wet for now.
Okay, in the dry, I think it was... You know, I think I was fast on the Thursday because I got up to speed very quickly, and always the sim preparation is super, super important. But, I mean, probably the most important things around this track are having a good exit out of, I think it's T14 and T1, because they have huge amount of time being full throttle, and you've got to try and have an amazing exit, and then you make a lot of time.
Obviously, you raced for the first 3 rounds in Silverstone. This is just your 4th race coming up in GB3. What have you learned already? What's the biggest thing that you maybe had to work on?
The biggest thing I had to work on from Silverstone was just putting qualifying together. And like I said in my interview, I think it was 3 weeks ago back at Silverstone, it was qualifying made a huge difference. So now we did a decent qualifying and we're in a good position for the race. So we'll see where it goes, but we're starting in a good spot.
Yeah, you're starting 10th, I think, for this first race coming up here. Obviously, with the rain, it's a little bit different. Are you expecting other drivers around you to maybe be a bit more troubled by the rain than yourself, or are you a little bit maybe less confident in the rain? What's the situation there?
I think I'm not one of those extremely fast British drivers that have been in the rain their entire lives, but you know, I have been put in rain circumstances quite often. Last year in Italian F4, and I think I am prepared, especially that was also quite decent in the rain. So I am looking forward to it, and I think it'll be just about making sure you get passes done in the right spot and can stay close to the car in front.
I'm guessing your friends and family are used to getting up at stupid times to watch you now, having done Italian F4 last season.
Yeah, I think my dad, brother and sister, they get a bit tired, so they just head to bed, they watch the race in the morning. But yeah, dad's creds to dad, because I think he's up at 2 a.m. every weekend trying to watch the second race.
Well, shout out to your dad, Mr. Vinci, I'm assuming. We will look forward to watching you race out there in a second. There'll be a lot of people watching around the world who are new to the GB3 Championship. Some of your family, I'm sure, and some of the other drivers' families as well. So let's just remind ourselves of the GB3 Championship.
Welcome to the GB3 Championship. If you're new to the series, this is one of the most exciting single-seater categories in motorsport run by Motorsport Vision Racing, better known as MSVR. The 2026 season is shaping up to be another intense year of competition. We'll see over 20 hungry up-and-coming drivers battling it out, representing 10 teams. And this year, everyone is getting behind the wheel of the highly upgraded Tata's MSV GB3025 car, which has greater torque and improved aerodynamic performance compared to last year's model. So, how does a race weekend actually work? It all kicks off with 2 intense 15-minute qualifying sessions. The time set in those sessions form the grid for 3 action-packed 25-minute races, with the first session forming the Race 1 grid and the second session setting the Race 2 lineup. But here's the best part. Race 3 is a reverse grid contest, with the fastest 12 drivers reversed on the starting grid ahead of the rest of the pack. This means the fastest qualifiers start further back, guaranteeing plenty of overtaking, especially with the GB3 car's DRS system. Across the season, fans will be treated to 24 races, and for 2026, the series is expanding its horizons with the exciting new trips to legendary Formula 1 circuits, the Red Bull Ring and the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. Here is how the calendar breaks down. We start at Silverstone in April, followed by visits to European F1 track Spa-Francorchamps, the Hungaroring and the Red Bull Ring across May and July. Before heading back to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit in August, September brings the annual visit to Donington Park, followed by the high-stakes penultimate event at Brands Hatch. Finally, we take one last trip to Europe to crown our champion at the season finale in Barcelona. Now let's talk strategy. Unlike Formula 1, there is no mandatory pit stops in GB3, however each car is strictly limited to using a maximum of 8 tyres. That is just 2 sets for an entire race weekend, including qualifying. Therefore, mastering tyre management is absolutely critical to winning. But what are they racing for? Aside from glory, it's all about FIA super license points. To eventually race in Formula 1, a driver needs to collect 40 of these points over 3 years. In GB3, the top 5 drivers in the final standings will earn points, with the 2026 champion taking home 10 points towards their Formula 1 dream. There are also some fantastic bonus prizes up for grabs. The Jack Cavill Pole Position Cup returns this year, rewarding any driver who grabs pole position with £300. At the end of the year, the driver with the most poles overall wins a special trophy and a £2,000 bonus, and the team of that driver gets £2,000 as well. Finally, keep an eye out for the Omologato One to Watch award. Every weekend, the driver who scores the highest combined points across the first 2 races is presented with a stunning Omologato watch.
So that is the GB3 Championship, and we're now here in the Elite. We're calling this a truck motorhome.
No, I've got a truck.
We'll call it a truck. This is the new Elite truck, which they were beckoning us into because they want us to check it out with Hugh Holy and Flynn Jacks. And it's a very cool place to come and chill and watch back all your footage, which obviously we can't show people, but it's nice to have this little environment at the track.
Yes, definitely. I think it's one of the greatest thing you have on the track, especially when it's hot, when it's wet. It's good to rest after the hard session and good to check all the stops, analyze stops, and chat with the engineer. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really nice. Flynn, there are a few teething issues though. You told me about the door not working.
Yeah, the data center door doesn't fully shut, and it's not a sliding door. It's on a hinge, so we lose about half the seat rest there, but it's fine.
It's fine. Just Eddie will sort it out. It's fine. Let's talk about the last time we were out at Silverstone. You got that second place in the reverse grid race. Quite an emotional time for you. I mean, people have, I assume, been sending you messages. You must have had a lot of messages from friends, family, and people you probably weren't expecting to hear from.
Yeah, I got a lot of support after that race, and it didn't really help throughout the weekend, and I was just very ill. So when I came in the race one, very emotional after the my engine broke. Did a bit of yell in my helmet. I came out and my voice was just gone. Just constantly voice cracking. And that carried its way all the way into race 3. And I got out the car and I was like, oh, I have to do an interview now. And I spent the whole time my voice just breaking constantly. But yeah, the support was great.
It was a magical moment. Where have you put the trophy?
My little flat, got it up on the thing.
I love that. And obviously we talked about that after the race, but what you've come through in the last couple of years, that's a huge moment. Do you feel that was kind of like a full stop under that era and now you can fully kind of focus on the future?
Yeah, I feel like this year is just a reset point for me. Like actually being where I'm supposed to be from the beginning and not at any form of disadvantage going into it. I feel like this is where I need to be and this is what I know I need to do.
And obviously you've been in the championship for a few years now, whereas your teammate, you've done 3 races in GB3 so far. This is your second race weekend. Have you raced at Spa before?
No, it's first time here racing in Spa. Obviously one of the historical track in the world, I would say. It's really cool to be here, and I'm learning every time in the GB3 car. So yeah, so far it's been really cool.
Which is the most difficult part of this track?
I think obviously the people like spectators will see Eau Rouge, like this kind of corners will be quite hard, but as a driver it's more of a, like, I would say easier than like the other corners in the track, because for us like GB3 car it's just easy flat out and it's just long straight. So I think the biggest part you see the difference in sector 2, where you see like Lacombe or Piron corners. Like, yeah, I think that could be the biggest change in the drivers.
And what do you think you can achieve this weekend? I know it's just your 4th race coming up in GB3, it's very early.
Still the biggest goal is just finish the race and learn as much as possible, score the points. If can, we try to be on the podium, and I think through the year we will aim for the victory for sure.
Excellent. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Obviously, wish you the best of luck as well. Maybe another podium on the way?
Ooh, hopefully. I mean, and the quality.
That door just fell off.
Yeah, it did. No, it didn't. And the Q1, my suspension broke down the camel. Went to hit the brakes, and the rear suspension went. Ooh! So that's why I'm going to be at the back Q2 and didn't set a time. So if I get a podium this weekend, I'll take it.
Yeah, it'll be a good way to end the weekend. Best of luck to you as well, Flynn. Well, that is this new elite truck, motorhome, whatever we're calling it. Someone's fixing that door, and we'll take a look at this track in a bit more detail.
Nestled deep in the Ardennes is one of motorsport's most iconic circuits. We've been around for more than 100 years. We'll take a look around the circuit then, that deep braking zone into the source, that first corner, of course, beginning this 2-kilometre run through Eau Rouge and Raidillon up to Les Combes before they get onto the brakes and flick it through the right-left and then right once more. Dropping down the hill finally into Bruxelles before we get into Speaker's Corner, then through the fast double left-hander at Port into Lefania for the right-hander at Campus, and then the flat-out right-hander at Stavelot brings us all the way down to the iconic Blanchimont. We'll get onto the brake for the final complex of corners, the bus stop chicane, which begins the second DRS zone. Of course, the first of the DRS zones being on that run up towards Les Combes. 101 metres of elevation all the way around this circuit, all being climbed from the bottom of Eau Rouge all the way to the top at Les Combes. 19 iconic corners in the world of motorsport. That is Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps.
Well, if you're a motorsports fan, which I'm assuming you probably are, this is an iconic place to come. Spa-Francorchamps. We've been here for many years in the GB3 Championship, back here this year, and as ever, the weather is unpredictable and the conditions very different to what we saw yesterday in qualifying. And it's Abby Pulling that'll start on pole position for Rodin, her first pole position in GB3, and also the first pole position by a female driver in this championship. So a huge occasion for her, also a huge occasion for Rodin, putting 3 cars in the top 4. And I caught up with Abby at the Rodin garage a little bit earlier on as she arrived. Abby, congratulations, your first pole position in GB3. You must be buzzing.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, a huge achievement, a huge accolade. You know, of course, it was a record breaking, was the first woman to do it in GB3, but that's not what I'm focused on. I'm just focused on myself and the fact that it was an achievement for me, you know, no matter what, just as a driver, you know, and yeah, it's an exciting race lined up this morning.
Slightly different conditions to what you qualified in. When you woke up this morning, I think a lot of people were expecting it, but when you looked out that window, or you maybe were even woken up by the thunderstorm, what were your first thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was the flashing lights of the lightning that woke me up. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm quite relaxed about it, and I'm quite excited that it's wet. I think it's the unknown for everyone, and it's whoever adapts the quickest. You know, and I think it's conditions that I like. So, especially around here, when you're leading in the dry, it's quite quickly easy to lose that going to Le Combe. So, yeah, I think it almost gives more opportunity on the first lap. But we'll see. At the end of the day, it's literally massively the unknown. But it's going to be a lot of fun, I know that, you know, regardless.
A record-breaking weekend here at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. We get ready for rounds 4, 5 and 6 of the GB3 Championship in 2026. An excellent opening round of the championship back in Silverstone with beautiful weather given way to this in the Ardennes. The most iconic track in motorsport. I'm sure a lot of the drivers on the grid will be saying that time and time again. Such icons when it comes to the corners. Les Combe when it runs down the hill on this almost bobsleigh run through Corn into the Fanier chicane as they go right and then left again through Campus and Stablo and back out onto that enormous run down on the back stretch into that final chicane of the bus stop where they've got DRS detection. They've got one going into Eau Rouge as well. Two DRS zones, one on the start finish straight and one on the Camel straight. 101 metres of elevation around the circuit. Most of that goes on the drop down from turn 1 and the rise back up through Eau Rouge and Aradi on 19 of the most fantastic corners motorsport has to offer. As you can see, the weather is pretty rough. It is difficult out there for the drivers. It is Abby Pulling who will be leading the field around. We are on the formation up, although actually the timer has actually started on the race. They've done a warm-up lap out of the pit lane and have come round, and the race has technically already begun. As you can see, we are under safety car. Abby Pulling, though, the first female driver in GB3's history to start a race from pole position. We'll keep our fingers crossed that we can get something, but as you can tell, on the run up here into Les Combe, conditions are extremely challenging for the drivers. It would be for Road another fantastic qualifying session for them. A front row lockout in this one with Abby Pulling and Maxim Rem, those two first and second. Martin Molnar, the Hungarian, in fourth position as well. So great for the Rodin team. Of course, Molnar did have that opening race podium back in Silverstone. Both of them falling short, though, of Nikita Bedrin, who was the force to be reckoned with a few weeks ago. Around this part of the circuit, visibility is extremely difficult, and you would necessarily think that this would be a great condition race, but that's obviously what race control are keeping a very keen eye on. These cars do have radios, so they can radio back to the team. They can tell about the conditions. Already got the update from race control. There is a red flag out. The conditions up there going through Les Combe and up the top of the hill, that whole area, visibility far too difficult. So red flag immediately comes out. Round this part of the circuit doesn't actually look ridiculously that bad, but of course I'm sure the drivers might perform a different bit of advice, and they know far more than I do. Confirmation of session being suspended. Now, just to give an update as to what will happen should we not be at racing, our update and what we've been told from race control is that effectively the race that would be cancelled would be the reverse grid race on Sunday, meaning that race 2, the one that's supposed to be a little bit later on this afternoon, would be taking this starting order. And then the race tomorrow will be taking the qualifying 2 starting order. So don't fret, Abby Pulling fans, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there watching this broadcast. She should still get her opportunity to start a race from pole position. It just might be a little bit later on in the day than expected. I'm sure there'll be disappointment at the moment in her cockpit. Disappointment as well back in Silverstone. Actually had some really good speed. Qualified in 4th and 5th in the opening couple of qualifying sessions of the season. Retired from the opening race, and then obviously had that incident that we saw in the highlights package coming into it with Patricio Gonzalez. He went up and over the top into the Vale chicane. Abby Pulling finished down in 20th position in that race. Finished in 8th in the reverse grid race where she started, but clearly showing that the Rodin team have some really, really good speed this weekend, and they'll be very, very disappointed if they don't get to show any of that speed. You can see the mechanics in the pit lane, obviously moving things around. You can see some slick tyres there. Guaranteed they will not be used today. I think even the race later on this afternoon is still supposed to be at a bare minimum a little bit wet. You can see the drivers working their way into the final chicane. They'll return their way into pit lane, I believe. They might go out onto the start-finish straight, but I believe it'll be back into the pit lane on the orders of race control. They'll follow the safety car here, which is working its way back into the lane. So Abby Pulling will drag Maxine Wren, Nikita Bedrin, Martin Molnar, Deegan Fairclough, Jin Nakamura, and the other drivers, the other 16 GB3 drivers, into the pit lane. And we will have a bit of a breather. See, around this part of the circuit, it's not ridiculously bad. It is that part at Les Combes and Malmedy at the top of the hill before they start dropping down, where visibility is a little bit too difficult. We'll head down though back into the pit lane where Jon Jackson is seeing exactly what these conditions are like, and I'm sure he'll give us a good update. We can see them into the we'll go to Jon Jackson in just a second. We can see the drivers in the pit lane there. They'll go down and back into the garage. Abby Pulling will be reversed back in, and we'll go down to Jon Jackson for a second time. We'll see what he can say.
And as you can see, the Rodin cars just being prepared to be wheeled back into the garage. Conditions not favourable, as Lewis was just explaining there, and obviously the drivers will be a little bit disappointed. They've got up early, they've G'd themselves up, especially the drivers starting towards the front, as all of these Rodin cars are, all 3 in the top 4. So we can see the Martin Molnar, a slightly different design car, just being wheeled in here with the blue highlights. He'll be put to the back of the grid here with the team making sure that everything is in order with the car. And obviously when you're going slower around these tracks, you're not avoiding the rain as much, so the drivers will all be fairly wet, I would imagine. I think we might need to move here. I think Abby Pulling's going to probably go exactly where we're standing here. We're going to try and grab a word with Abby in just a second, but I'm with Abby's manager, confidant, Alice Powell. Alice, it's not great conditions. You raced in these conditions in W Series and it wasn't fun.
No, it wasn't. It was, rather wet, and we were actually massively delayed that weekend, and that was on F1 weekend. But obviously F1 took priority, so it was all sort of shortened, but it's tricky, and when there's that amount of standing water, you know, it's the safety of the drivers, isn't it? Abby said she was behind the safety car, and she said the spray from the safety car was really bad. She said, I can't imagine what it's like for everybody else that's got clear tracks, that is behind cars. So, you know, hopefully later today she'll get her chance to start on pole, because she was very gutted on the radio. She was like, I'm so disappointed, but you know, safety comes first. Track conditions aren't what they are, and that's that.
When you've got a driver who is younger and is very keen, and you've been there and done it a bit more, what kind of things are you saying to make sure that she's staying focused and not, you know, panicking too much, because obviously this is such a good opportunity for her?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same for everybody else. You know, the race has been cancelled for everybody else. The conditions are going to be the same for everybody else. So that's just the way it is. Keep calm, keep eating, keep fluids up. Luckily, it's a bit cooler today than it was the last couple of days. But yeah, and here she comes.
Yeah, we'll we're going to have a quick word with Abby. We'll let her get her helmet off here. Thanks, Alice. I appreciate that. Abby,
I'm stuck. One second.
She's stuck. Hang on.
There we go.
Sorry to grab you straight out of the car, but obviously you were at the front there, so in theory you should have had the least spray, even going at slower speeds. But Alice was just telling me that you were struggling with even the safety car.
Yeah, well, I don't even think it was. I don't even know what it was. Like in Le Com, I couldn't see a thing, and it was either mist or like the rain. It was hitting the ground. I don't know what it was, but I couldn't see, and I was like, if I can't see, other people can't see. So yeah, big shame, but
Well, it was quite obvious the race was going to be red flag, so that race will now become the race later on. So we'll lose the reverse grid race, which means you'll still start on pole position later on. So that's still a positive.
oh, that's all right then. No, that's good. I mean, I sat on the grid and I said, I don't think this is going to go ahead, and I said it's a shame because I'm so ready for it. Like, I'm feeling good, good in the rain. So anyway.
Well, there we go. We heard from you only moments ago in the pre-show, and the race wasn't that long, so we'll let you go and get ready and prepare for later on and dry off. Thank you very much. Alice Powell alongside Abby Pulling there, and yeah, the conditions here not great, and you come out here now and you see it, and actually I'm wearing a polo shirt and it's not really raining that much at all now, but just so much standing water on the track. So things will be assessed, things will be looked at here. There are other series racing here this weekend, so if those cars manage to go out, obviously that will take a bit of water off the track, hopefully. So it remains to be seen. I would suggest for now, just keep your eyes peeled on the GB3 social media channels. We'll have updates on there, of course. We'll try and get some content up there from In the Paddock as well to keep you entertained in the meantime. And as I say, that race will become the later race, and we'll lose the reverse grid race tomorrow. So basically this will be race one later on today. So, what's going on here? Oh, here we go. Lewis, how was it out there? I mean, we just spoke to Abby Pulling and she was at the front there, but you were a little bit further back, and just tricky to see anything.
Yeah, I mean, even leaving the pit lane, when the car's 20 seconds in front of me, I still can't see going into Eau Rouge, so we knew straight away what was going to happen. Like, even once we got on the grid and then we'd done our formation lap, going up the hill was blind, and going into turn 4, 5 and 6, literally couldn't see 5 metres in front of me. So yeah, I think it's quite right to stop the race because visibility is just non-existent.
Yeah, and this track, of course, you need that visibility with how undulating it is. It must be a bit annoying for you to have, wanted to drive this track in a proper race for a little while and have that delay. But of course, we'll race later on. So what are you going to be doing in the meantime now?
Hopefully, just chilling out and hoping that the sun comes out because I'm Scottish and I'm used to the wet, supposedly, but nah, it's better on the dry. Yeah,
of course. I mean, the weather is due to clear up, but I guess the standing water on the track, I think there's some on the start-finish straight there that's a bit of an issue.
It is, yeah. I mean, when we were watching the classes before us, there was some oil dropped in the track as well, so the oil with the standing water that we have, it's going to make it extremely difficult, so we just have to wait and see.
Okay, well, look, we'll let you go and get ready and chill out. I know that you're used to weather, as you say, but not ideal for racing. Thank you.
Cheers.
Oh, there we go. We'll speak to Flynn Jacks as well. We heard from you in the pre-show and you went out there and it was a very short time on track, obviously very difficult conditions.
Yeah, it was just mainly going out, seeing what the track was like, reporting back to the pit wall and just finding what was quick. I mean, in the end they did cancel it, which I understand.
Yeah, and obviously this will become the race later on, so we're going to lose the reverse grid race. So, I mean, that means that your grid position will still stand for later on. So that's a positive. What are you going to be doing in between now? Because we've got a few hours, other than sort of doing the anti-rain dance or whatever. I don't know how you stop the rain, but what are you going to be doing? Getting a nap in?
Might go for a hike. We're in the lovely forest. Yeah. Got nice trees about. Put a raincoat on. Go for a walk.
Yeah, just watch out for the lightning. Don't stand near any big trees, yeah?
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, well, I think you should do that. A little bit different to conditions you're maybe used to back home. I mean, I guess as soon as you see the rain like this, you know that there's probably low chance that you're actually going to get to race.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's sort of the trade-off you get. You get this beautiful track, in my opinion, the best track in the world, but sometimes the weather gods up here are a bit mean.
Remind me, did you race here last year or was it the year before? Have you raced here every year? I don't know.
I think so, yeah. I think so.
What's your best result so far? Okay. Let me pose you the question. Do you think you could do better than your best result so far?
100%. Even with my DNF at the end of Q1 and missing Q2, I still think I can easily get my best result here this weekend.
Yeah. Well, look, best of luck. We'll see you a little bit later on. Thank you for chatting to me again.
Cool. Thank you. Have a good one.
There we go. Flynn Jacks there with Elite. I mean, you look around here, there's people kind of hiding, not wanting to be in the pit lane too much because of this standing water that's around and, of course, the rain coming down. It kind of fluctuates between light rain to slightly heavier. But there we go. We heard from some of the drivers. They'll be chilling out now. And as I say, keep your eyes peeled on the GB3 social media channels. We'll get some of the interviews up. We'll maybe chat to some of the other drivers as well and see what they're up to. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And all of the updates will be posted on there as well as the GB3 website as well. So no racing yet in the GB3 Championship here at Spa. But what a track. We'll be back a little bit later on where hopefully we get some racing laps in.